Fisher. This is the former site of the famous Blue Creek Lodge. Blue Creek Lodge was lost in the flood of '64 along with everything else on this river and never rebuilt, but prior to that, back in its day, it was quite the place to be. It was host to quite a few different VIPs and dignitaries alike. People such as Clark Gable used to come up and fly fish here, President Roosevelt, President Truman, a famous horticulturalist as well, named Luther Burbank, just to name a few. Luther Burbank was also an artist, as he would stay sometimes at this lodge for months on end. He would trade his paintings for room and board. The Blue Creek Special was invented here along with the brindle bug and many other flies used for fly fishing in this area. But what made the Blue Creek Lodge most famous of all wasn't any one person that would frequent the lodge or anything that was invented here. What it was a vessel they used to pick up their guests. It was an old dugout redwood. They strapped an outboard engine on that vessel and documented close to 50,000 river miles. And you can find that vessel to this day in Ripley's, believe it or not. Prior to that, this property was owned by a gentleman by the name of George Knapp. That's the name of the section of river we're in. It's known as Knapp's. It was named after him. George Knapp was a philanthropist as well as co-founder of Union Carbide. This was his favorite destination to come to late 30s into the 40s until the folks at Blue Creek took over. You'd always travel with an entourage and hire out local Native Americans to guide him to new places in the area. One in particular named Pete. Now the boats of the day would take right around a full day to get to this point from the mouth of the river known as Redqua. George Knapp fabricated a boat. He fitted that with an aircraft engine and he was able to make it up here in 30 minutes. Now that's just unheard of for the boats of the time. He funded the very first hospital in Crescent City known as Knapp Hospital, later to become Seaside. Well, Blue Creek is just up and around the corner and we like showing it off. So we're going to do a drive-by and then we're going to stop in there once downbound and talk a little bit about Blue Creek. Watching and waiting. Now what they are watching and waiting for, among other things, are the osprey to catch a fish. As the osprey catches a fish and is struggling to gain altitude with him, that eagle will launch himself off his perch, soar in very rapidly, literally go inverted, upside down, and steal that fish away from the osprey. Now folks, this river has seen a massive acceleration in the population of bald eagles on this lower Klamath. You know, the past 15 years. You know, 15 years ago, we really had to search hard to find one bald eagle a day. We are normally finding multiples per tour now, and we are excited about that. We know of 3 nests right on River's Edge, 2 of which produced 3 babies last season, and 3 years ago those same 2 nests produced 3 as well. Speaking of the juvenile bald eagle, they in many ways resemble a golden eagle until they get their white head and tail feathers at approximately 5 years of age. Until then, they do have the two-tone brown speckled underwing and chest. Well, you can't tell the difference, of course, is size. The golden appears to be much larger, and his talons, well, they're a lot oranger in color. Sometimes that is all we do see of them when they are in trees, as they blend in superbly to their surroundings. Now, as a baby eagle grows enough to leave its nest, it will frequent the area it did hatch in for quite some time, eventually moving off to other parts. But as they do become fully mature, they will sometimes return and start a family of their own. We do believe there's a lot of what this river is seeing going on at this time. constructed a traditional village as they were prior to settlers. National Parks got involved and donated a single redwood log, which was enough to build their buildings with. What they have constructed are plank homes for their living quarters, brush pits, also known as dance pits, a regalia house for storing ceremonial garments and feathers, a sweat lodge, and a smokehouse for curing their meats. Now this site is pretty close to a village that was here more than 150 years ago.